Roads are empty, doors are locked, bar is stocked, coffee is ready, and here we are, working from home. Thanks, coronavirus. This video is a quick trip through 9 top tips that I've got in how to elevate your presence online. And we're talking about the sort of things that we're all going to have to do a whole lot of over the next few weeks/months. I'm talking webinars, video conferences, FaceTime calls, Skype, Zoom, anything where your face is looking into a lens instead of looking into somebody else's eyes. Given that in the online world, people will judge you just like they do in the offline world, we've got to be on our game. So here we go, top 9 tips, start now. Let's talk lighting. You have to be well lit. You might think it's not important. You might think, well, the room is bright, so it'll be just fine. But therein lies a huge problem, because the more shadowy, the more dark you look, the less likely it is people are going to actually enjoy looking at your image. They'll switch off. They won't listen. So golden rule number 1, never present to camera with a window behind you. So here I am in my office with the window behind me, and now look, you can hardly see anything. Now, you might argue that's better, right? But let's be honest, people need to see you fully lit. So, never with a window behind you. Instead, in your area, in your zone, make sure you use any and all lighting around you. You can actually use just the basic lamps and lights that you've got. I've got a light there, I've got a lamp right there. I'll just twist that a little bit. And I can actually adjust the amount of light coming in. And these modern cameras, even on the laptop screens, they don't really mind as long as there's some light coming in. So take advantage and have the window in front of you, never behind you. Next up, background. I mean, this isn't really ideal. I'm up in the attic of the house. This is where my office is, but there's nothing too offensive there. If the background included weird memorabilia that says a lot about you don't want people to know, or maybe there's used underwear cast around the place, that's not the message you want out there. So consider your background. Literally go back there, pick stuff up, move it away.
Fix up this pigsty!
Because your shot isn't just you, it's what's behind you as well. This tip is truly important because the majority of us do this wrong. When we're on a video call or a video conference of some sort, we're often using our laptop. And when you use your laptop, what you're doing is you're looking down. You're up here looking down on everyone. Now, from people's perspective, they look at that and they don't like that image. Why? Because it looks like you're lording it over them. You're up here. Can you imagine doing that in a meeting? Oh, take a seat, let's have a chat. I want to be higher than you. Wouldn't work. So instead, raise the camera up to your eye line, right? That's all you have to do. So here's my laptop right now. I need to raise this right now. So why don't you use anything that's around you, maybe some old unwanted books. Look, here's some unsold copies of The Art of Business Seduction and What's Up With Your Handshake, a classic. All right, nobody wants those, so I'll put them underneath the laptop, put the laptop on top, and now the camera is pretty much in line with my eyes. You get a much clearer connection with the human on the other end if you're looking directly at them. You're not looking up, and you're not looking down. This next tip is crucial. We're talking audio. Can you hear me okay? Of course you can. Why? Because I've got a decent microphone on this camera. But very often, the audio of your call, of your virtual meeting is dreadful for a bunch of reasons. Number 1, think of your environment. Are you in a very echoey room? You know, there's no soft furnishing, there's no drapes, there's nothing soft to absorb the echo. And as a result, you have this horrible, hollow sound. People don't like to listen to it. Your points are going to resonate less if you're in an echoey space. Find a nice, comfortable room with plenty of padding to soak up your echo. What about your microphone? Very often the desktop or the laptop, they do not have good mics. It might be worthwhile also investing in an external microphone. Or if you don't want to do that, just grab your headphones, plug it in, put one in and use this microphone, because I guarantee it'll be, for the most part, better than the actual computer itself. Also on the subject of noise, you want to have sort of a quiet environment so that you can be taken seriously. Look, everyone knows we are all at home with our families, and families can be noisy. But there's no reason why, if you've got a kid around who loves to talk a lot, you can't deploy the digital babysitter.
And like you're also my servant.
Screen time equals quiet time. Next up, addressing the camera. Hello, how are you? Ha! Here's the thing. You've got to treat the camera, the lens, like an actual person, because that's who's on the other side. And the hardest thing of all is to look at the lens. Now, your eyes are going to be drawn to you on the screen. You want to be able to look at yourself. And a lot of people, you see them just talking the whole time like this. They're looking at themselves. Fight the urge to stare at your own beautiful face and instead focus on the lens, because that looks like you're focusing on the other person. So, eyes front, eyes in the lens. When you're doing calls that are spanning the globe, as most of us will be doing now, you've got to allow for something they call digital lag, time lag, like a delay, if you will. And what often happens is you'll start sharing your brilliant idea, then somebody else will interrupt you, and you, being the polite, lovely person you are, you'll stop. You'll go, oh, sorry, carry on. And then there'll be another long pause, then somebody else will speak and somebody else will interrupt. Here's the problem. It's a delay, it's a lag. You actually have to go the opposite way. You have to do something which feels almost counterintuitive. When you start talking, do not stop. If you hear someone interrupt, they said that about 3 seconds ago, so they didn't even know you were talking. Instead, just press on. Make your statement, make it clean, end quickly, and everything else will follow smoothly. The minute you stop because you hear an interruption, the whole call becomes this juddering wreck. Here's some news that isn't news at all. We are goldfish. We are elevated goldfish. We have 0 attention spans. We don't like to have our time, our attention captured by something else for longer than absolutely necessary. So what do we do as communicators online to camera? Keep it short. Brevity is king. Brevity is queen. Brevity is running the show. Think of it this way. You're talking, you're sharing your ideas, you are competing against this. The sum of all human knowledge, entertainment, TikTok videos, and funny cats against you. So how do you compete? Well, frankly, you don't. So make your messaging short, keep it brief. Just cut it through. You don't need to tell them everything. Just tell them what they need to remember and leave it at that. Here's a message I share with my audiences and my executives when I do coaching on the art of presentation. Because believe it or not, the rules are kind of the same when you're in a webinar or you're in a virtual call of some sort. T-I-M-E, it spells time. You're taking people's time. But think of it this way. If you're going to take their time, you should also pay them back with time. T-I-M-E, it stands for teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain. So on the teach front, this is pretty easy. Just tell them something they didn't know. If you think that all the content you're sharing is stuff they probably already do know, then just don't say it. I for inspire, this is about the end target. A lot of people are very influenced by how a certain process will end. They need to be inspired by the destination, not the journey. So make sure you keep touching on where we're going rather than just process in your presentation. You're talking about the result of your ideas. You're talking about the outcome of the concepts you're currently sharing. M for motivate, this is very simple. Give your audience online one thing to do. All you're asking them to do is after this long call, this web meeting, this Zoomy get-together, they're going to do one thing. That is the motivate piece. Don't get them to change their entire world fundamentally, because it'll never happen. Instead, motivate with a single action. And E for entertain, well, that just means this. I'm not saying be a comedian, make them laugh. What I am saying is be yourself. You should be the same person on this call as you are in real life. The more you can do that, the better, the stronger the connection, and the more memorable your ideas and your messages. Because of the nature of this medium, this virtual meeting, not everything's going to be remembered. So you owe it to yourself and to the others to recap certain points. Make notes as the call goes on and recap certain key moments, key takeaways, because everyone's going to be forgetting most of it. It's your duty to remind them of what is truly important. So when the call is over and you turn all the lights off and you turn your cameras and your computers off and you head back to your family, take a moment to think about what was said in the meeting. Jot some notes down and then a day later send a follow-up email going over what you thought was truly critical. That way you once again reinforce and you remind, and that meeting on camera where you look great, where you sounded great, actually has a huge impact. So there you go, my top tips for elevating your presence online, because we're going to be doing a lot of this for the next couple of months. But when the world goes back to normal, which it will, you'll be grateful that you took full advantage of this opportunity to raise your game.